Donut. We are live here at the Omni Hotel in Fort Worth. We are currently at the National Enforcement Officers Hall of Fame. It's a mouthful. I got another Force Science expert with me. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself? I'm going to pull this mic right up. You need to be close.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's all the background. Yeah, so you can move this up, do whatever you want. I'm going to just intrude on your bubble there.
That's okay.
There you go. Yeah, if you feel like you're too close, you're not close enough.
Sounds
There,
good.
perfect, right
Okay.
there. Yeah, spit all over that thing.
All right.
So yes, sir. Go ahead, introduce yourself to the
So
people.
my name is Mike Musengo. I work with Force Science. I'm the Director of Learning and Development.
Hold on. Did you hire Vaughn?
I did not hire Vaughn. We came on at about the same time.
Okay, because I'm still trying to figure out why anybody would hire him. Anybody that sounds like a bad guy on like a Bruce Willis movie, that's an evil name.
He comes across pretty scary.
He does.
He's a big teddy bear if you get to know him.
What's funny is how popular he is on our program. People love him. Even anti-cop people love him.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's great.
I
So
love him
I'm
too.
sorry to
I love him like a
interrupt. All right, sir. All right, so you're with Force Science. You're here at the Hall of Fame. First and foremost, what brought you out here?
Well, what brought me out here originally is our good friend, my brother, my colleague, Chris Butler, was receiving the award for Instructor Trainer of the Year. Well deserved. He's been my mentor forever. We worked together at Force Science. I worked with him over the years on courses that he's developed for trainers. And I just always looked up to Chris and modeled everything I'm doing after him. So very genuine guy that's just out there trying to do the right thing for the right reasons. So I'm just here in full support of Chris, and then listening to all of these other awards and stories, just blown away by it. I laughed tonight. I cried tonight. It was just an overwhelming experience. So that being said, I'll just throw a plug out for them. If you can donate, please do to this wonderful organization. They're doing some really wonderful things, recognizing some great people. So,
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up that you came out here for an educator, because really that's what Two Cops, One Donut's trying to do, is we're trying to bridge that gap through education, period. And that goes both ways. We jump on, we like to talk, we like to highlight. Like the Law Enforcement Hall of Fame tonight, guys, if you're listening, it is about the best of the best, the cops that you want out there doing the right thing and helping the community the way that you would expect cops to help. So that is what we highlighted tonight. So I want you guys to remember that. And I hope you guys can hear the stories. We tried to broadcast it live the best we could with that little camera over there.
Okay.
We weren't quite prepared. They didn't quite have the setup for us. But so I was hoping you guys would be able to hear those stories. But we're also going to be pulling some of those people that were awarded tonight over here to talk about their stories. But this is what we need to highlight. This is what you want your officers out there doing, making the hard sacrifices and doing exactly what their oath brought them to do.
Yeah, I think, sometimes it's just the grind, the way that hamster wheel spins. And I know in the agency that I worked for, the op tempo is really high. The called load is extremely high. And there's just so many days where you may ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And it's just, not feeling great about it, and the fatigue that goes along with it. And I'll tell you what, sitting in there for a couple hours and listening to all the humility of all these folks getting up there, and all the faith and just genuine love for the profession, and proclaiming, and talking about why we do what we do and all the sacrifice, it really fills your sails. And I think that the average officer needs to hear that more often, just to reignite that fire that you have burning inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're with Force Science. This is something that I've been trying to push for, I feel like, my whole career. Once I learned about Force Science, it truly is like one of the it's the best. It's the best explanation out there for why cops use the force they use, and the explanations behind it that idiots like me can't explain. I understand once you tell me, like when Vaughn explains, I'm like, yeah, that's what I did.
Right.
That's
Hard to articulate.
It's hard to articulate, but you guys have figured out a way to articulate, and not just articulate why a cop used force, but you guys are also able to articulate, like, hey, what he's saying happened might not have happened that way. Like, the science doesn't back that up. So you guys can you have a measurable, a real science. It's not bullshit. I'll just put it that way. It's measurable. Like you can't argue it with policies and politics because it's backed by mathematics and science. That's what I love about what you guys do.
Yeah, it really is, and it's the work of forest science under Dr. Lewinsky, the research that we have done, as well as research that's being done by our colleagues in many
Yeah.
fields. The study of human error, memory, attention, cognitive load. There's just human performance factors that
Yeah.
things that people experience every day, but there's no fallout to it, right?
Yeah.
We have this type of error, that type of error, or the way we forget things, our memory under having a stress response. Um, when it comes to some type of critical incident, that all of a sudden there's this big magnifying glass on these little, you know, milliseconds in time, and then we want answers, we want truth,
Yeah.
and we need to have a realistic expectation and understanding of what the human can do,
Yeah.
the limitations of performance and memory and error and attention, cognitive load, like I said, all of those things and more, the speed that things occur, and our ability to act and react in time, all those things, decision making. Working with Dr. Klein and these top experts in the field and deep diving into the research, looking really hard at it, looking at the limitations of it, trying to understand it best and how it applies to our profession.
Yeah.
So that being said, we are really looking at training. My passion is in training trainers.
Right.
That's a big one for me because what I found as a career law enforcement trainer is that everyone talks about, cops need more training, right? Cops
Yeah.
need better training and all that. Okay, I agree. Yeah, we do all those things. What I found, not just in my agency, but as I traveled across the country, is what resources are available for trainers to get better at what they need to do. And I'm not talking about lesson plans, PowerPoint, being really skilled in a domain, or all those things that are just givens already. We have to communicate with people. But where do we go if we want to deep dive for a better understanding about how humans actually learn, which means skill acquisition, retention, recall, and then the most important one that many people forget, especially in colleges and cognitive learning, is transferring that out into some contextual reality, the contextual
Right.
relevance of it. So there is a lot of information out there on that. Chris Butler has a course. We have a course as well, and what we're trying to do is have a place where trainers can go to deep dive into, have a better understanding about how humans learn and what we can do in our own training. And this could be across curriculum or even just in your own domain, things that you can do in the timeframes that we're currently working with to be more effective as far as optimizing that learning. So making that information stickier and more transferable into the contextual environment. So we're putting a lot of energy into that right now. I feel that there's been a gap there for a long time.
Yeah.
And unless you're a trainer that has a lot of time to deep dive on your own, which if that's what you're doing, then congratulations. That's awesome. There's not a lot of agencies that provide that type of deep dive training for trainers to get better. They just expect us to do more with the time frames that we have.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Now, what I really like is there any future plans of any sort of civilian training to understand where you guys are doing and what you're doing?
So our courses are open, our certification course, so it's not just law enforcement only, there are civilians that
Okay.
they take the course as well. We've had, people from all walks of life, motocross coaches trying to understand human performance factors for their athletes.
Really?
Oh yeah, we
Okay.
get all types in there, and the majority are law enforcement trainers, investigators, administrators. Civilians are welcome as well to come and take these courses to have a better understanding. And then we're really relying on those agencies to help get that information out to the communities, kind of permeate about the human performance factors. It's really important to
I
have
love
a
it.
better understanding of what our capabilities are. I mean, look, we all love superheroes, right?
Yeah,
We
right.
all are hoping that whoever's going to come to save me in my real time of need is going to have this hidden cape that's going to come out and have all these superpowers. We really want that, but in reality, it's humans wearing a uniform, and the amount of training that they get in the academy and then in service every year. Comparatively, it's There's
doesn't
no
cut
hate.
it.
You just got some really brave human beings out there that have taken an oath. They go out there and do their best every day to problem solve and try to do the best they humanly possibly can to solve problems, to make good decisions.
I agree. Well, sir, I appreciate your time. I'm glad we could give a little shout out to Force Science again tonight.
Yeah.
We had Vaughn over here a little earlier, so a little bit of a rock star. He is. It's crazy. But appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time, brother.
Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for
all right, guys. We're going to move the next person on in. Have a good... Oh, sir, before you go, did I get you a patch? We got you a ghost patch here.
All right. Thanks. All right.
Got you a Two Cops One Donut patch by one of our sponsors, Ghost Patch. If you ever get any patches made for Force Science, look right there in the back. Get those guys. That's owned by a cop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got something else then.
All right.
What size rash guard do you wear?
Large.
Large?
You got a large rash guard? Okay.
I got you.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
brother.
I appreciate it.
Take it easy.
All right.
So for you guys that don't know, 58 years old and a black belt. I'm sorry, blue belt in jiu-jitsu. He's rolling. He's a former wrestler. Have a seat, sir. Got Heath Martin jumping on. One of our honorees tonight. How are you, sir? So I'm going to need you to talk. You can pull this thing as close as you can, but you want to be about an inch away from them, like at all, because of all this background noise.
Gotcha.
So first and foremost, sir, introduce yourself. Let people know where you're at, where you're from.
Heath Martin. I'm from Springboro, Ohio, which is just outside of Cincinnati and Dayton. We're right in the middle.
All right, we won't hold that against you because I am a Michigan Wolverines fan. I heard your son is too, so
Yes, yeah. I'm surrounded by Michigan.
it's the best. You hate it, don't you?
I do hate it.
Oh Lord, I bet. You know the best thing you guys have though is Christmas time. You got Buckeyes.
Yeah,
That's delicious. I love them. So, sir, you were an honoree out here tonight. Can you tell people a little bit about the story of how they got you out here?
So I had no idea that I was nominated for this life-saving award. I got an email and I started corresponding back and forth with Adam and said, hey, you got this award. We'd like for you to come out. So I jumped at the chance.
Did you even know about the Hall of Fame?
I had no clue.
I didn't learn about it till last year.
Yeah. When he reached out to me, it was the first I heard of it.
Yeah.
It was exciting to hear that. I thought it was like in Bowling Green, Ohio. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, just up the road.
Right.
And then they're like, hey, we're going to Fort Worth. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Right. So I want guys to kind of hear the backstory of why you got nominated. Basically, somebody's electric wheelchair, if I remember the story correct.
Correct.
Electric wheelchair, the battery popped and caught on fire.
Yeah, caught on fire. He was in bed asleep when the smoke detectors started going off, which woke him up. He has his entire house is linked to like fire and police.
Okay.
So he could just call out instead of like trying to dial. He just had them. So we were in communication with him through dispatch until that explosion of the battery. We finally let go. Got too hot.
Okay.
And we lost all communication. I was already en route at that time. So when I got there, dispatch was smart enough to get the garage code from me so I could get in the house. So at that point, I entered the house, opened the garage door, and went in the house that way. As soon as I got in the house, it was full black smoke. That lithium battery is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Didn't know what room he was in, so I was kind of yelling for him. And I faintly heard him coming from the back bedroom. And I don't know what I was thinking. I just threw the door open willy-nilly, and I just got hit with all that smoke.
Yeah.
And as soon as I sucked that in, I had to retreat back out to get air. So I ended up going out the front door of the house, not the way I came in through the main door. Went back into the house, tried to push in again to get to him, and I really couldn't get past the threshold from the smoke and the heat. And I kept talking to him, saying, I can't find you, I don't see you, I can't see anything. It got to the point where he just said, man, it's okay, thanks for trying, brother. And when I heard that, he was accepting of his fate that he wasn't making it. God gave me the strength, I'll just be honest, to go in. Because I just threw myself in. Literally threw myself in.
That's crazy.
Started crawling around on the floor. Couldn't see anything. I could see the wheelchair was on fire. The bed was now on fire. The wall and the ceiling was on fire. As I crawled and made my way around to the end of the bed, I saw his big toe sticking out from behind the bed, and that's how I got to him. When I came around the corner, he was fully sitting. He was engulfed in flames, just sitting there.
Really?
Yeah, just
Was he fully was he like paraplegic or?
Yeah, he chest down.
Chest
so
down,
he could
okay.
use his arms, but nothing else.
Gotcha.
And he just kind of reached up like a toddler to be picked up. I just bent down and grabbed him. We started out. I was carrying him, bear hug, and we were going out the door. I fell over a piece of furniture, and we actually fell back into the fire. And then I jumped up again, grabbed him from under his arms, and just took off running, and got him out the front door. And then I propped him up against my body and held him upright until fire got there.
Yeah.
Just making sure that he was out. But yeah, he's sustained 24 massive burns to his legs and buttocks area.
Okay.
Naturally, they didn't catch it at first
Because you can't.
because couldn't feel it.
Really,
Couldn't tell where it was hurting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got burnt on my elbow, my ear, and had smoke inhalation.
That smoke from a house is something if you've never been around it, you just can't describe it.
Yeah, it's
It
a whole other
is
animal.
debilitating
Yeah.
the moment you suck in one breath of it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
cannot breathe.
Yeah. So when you guys hear him say that he had to retreat, if you've ever even been close to a significant bonfire, like picture that a million times stronger. A house fire is a different animal altogether. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
That's why there's firefighters.
Yeah, I
hate
know.
saying
Yeah.
it.
I told the firefighters when they were taking me to the hospital because I thought that my lungs were burnt.
Yeah.
So we were riding. I was like, dude, give me a police shootout any day. Or domestic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you guys run into those places.
No shit. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
So,
that was-
so in that, how long ago did this happen?
it's about a year ago now.
Okay, so is he fully recovered?
He is finally fully recovered
Okay.
and back in his house.
Amazing.
So-
So the house got saved too.
So evidently, when I was coming out, apparently at some point I went back in and I shut the door. And
You contained it.
that's what saved the house was his. I didn't know it at the time, but he had a dog, a service dog. The
Okay.
service dog didn't make it. Initially it did, but it just succumbed a couple days later
Okay.
to its injuries. I didn't know it was in there. It was,
Yeah. Well, I will tell you guys, we're gonna. A lot of what we do on Two Cops One Donut is education. So keep your door shut when you sleep at night. It can save your life. My grandfather was a chief of fire growing up, so I learned a lot about. I learned enough that I don't want to be a firefighter.
yeah.
So
I give those guys a lot of grief, but man, I don't want to do it.
yeah, absolutely. Well, sir, that is exactly one of the things we try to highlight on here is when people are doing. You and I wouldn't call it above and beyond.
Right.
We would call it. That's the day in the job. That's
Yeah.
what we do. But you went in when a lot of people may not have, and we've seen it. So I know it's hard for cops to take kudos because it is one of the hardest things that we can do. But truly, one of the best stories I've heard in a long time.
Thank you.
I do think God was involved.
Oh yeah.
Because I have been next to house fires. I've been next to car fires. A car fire is just as intense when you're right by them. And I had to retreat. I could not get closer. So the fact that you were able to push through tells me that some divine intervention.
Oh, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and I'm glad to hear that he's living and
Yeah, he's living well, and his boys are doing great. So
excellent. That's amazing.
3 little boys under 10, man.
Well, very cool. Well, sir, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, not a
Appreciate it.
problem.
Awesome, man.
Take it
Thank you.
easy and
Yes, sir.
move to Michigan. All right, guys. We got another interview underway. That's the type of stories I wanted you guys to hear tonight. That's one of the things I wanted to do. So I got Alan back in the background looking for more people. I am starting to run low on my beer, by the way. Drinking a little Texas Special, a little Shiner Bock. But I ran into the one and only Mark Lamb today. I don't know if you guys can see that patch very well. My camera's about 8 feet away from me, so I can't get it any closer. But Mark Lamb's out here. Maybe we can snag him. I'm trying to get Rick Smith, who's the head of Axon. He's out here. We're trying to get DJ Daniel. You guys may have seen the picture that I got with him earlier. DJ Daniel's out here. If you guys aren't familiar with that name, it's the little boy that was inducted into the Secret Service by Donald Trump. His lifelong dream is to be a police officer. So he got to come out here for the Hall of Fame, and he spoke. It was pretty funny. It was pretty good. He's a smart little shit. I'll give him that. He is funny as hell. So he was out here. I'm just looking around trying to see who I can wave in. But no, guys, this is a great event. It's my second year. We're going to improve it next year. Next year, here's what I'm going to promise y'all. We're going to have a mic on the stand. We're going to get you guys so you can hear everything that's going on perfectly and not from a distance like we tried this year. So you guys will be able to see the event as it's going on live inside, hear these stories of the people that we're trying to get to come talk. And if we can get them over here and tell their stories, that would be another great thing that we can do. But I really think it's important for y'all. Like I said, you guys know me. I'm trying to be pretty balanced. I show the bad cops do bad cop stuff. We talk about them. I want you guys to hear the good cops and the good stories of the stuff that they're out there doing. You know, one of the controversial things that always gets put out there is the Uvalde thing. This place is the opposite of that. This is all those cops that you want doing what you think they should be doing. That's all these stories. And they're true and they're provable. So that's what you guys want to hear. You need to be reinforced and have some confidence instilled about what some of the good cops are out there doing. And that's what we're talking about today. So as we keep going, I am still waiting for Alan to snag some people for me. I'm looking at my phone right now and looking for some people to go live with us and see what we can get going. Stick with me 1 second, I promise. I hate to be that guy. Trying to look at the chat and see who's on tonight. Oh, I clicked on something. But we are going one at a time. People keep walking by. They're looking, but they're not interested. Somebody at One Piece fan. What about Banning? Banning is out schmoozing, y'all. He's actually a board member for the Hall of Fame, so he has to do his thing. I'm trying to stare a hole through Tom Smith from Gold Badges right now. He has Gold Badges podcast, so if I can get him to come over here, that would be excellent. But he's talking to some lady. He ain't looking at me. It's pretty fun. Let me wave my arms real crazy. I'm waving my arms real crazy to see. I guess this ain't real crazy. Now it's getting crazy. Deborah Green just jumped on. What's up, Deborah? I'm trying to get attention of people. There's a dog barking in the background. I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but they're serving donuts. I'm trying to get another one. I had one just before I jumped on live. One Piece fan. Oh, I was there at your table. Hell yeah, brother. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to... This light is so bright in my eyes right now. I can't see people as well. But give you guys some updates. Donut TV, Donut Network, the thing that DTV is, we were calling it, as the kids are calling it. We have like 7 shows lined up, y'all. And so that's what we're looking forward to be able to bring to you guys. And have a seat right here. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm living the dream. I can't complain. How about you? Are you wearing Ray-Bans with the cameras in them?
I am.
I recognize those. How good are they?
They're very good. So when I was on stage speaking,
Uh-huh.
I had them recording, so it was recording my point of view of me speaking.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I've considered getting those for the podcast to see how they turn out. But,
Yes.
How long is that battery life? This has nothing to do with the podcast.
So yeah,
I'm nerding
so
out now.
I will say, so the battery life isn't the best.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not the best. And so you definitely, if you're going to not have the case with you, because they charge in the case.
Okay.
But the case is bulky, so it depends on where you're at. So like I didn't bring the case with me, so I had to make sure I managed the battery life. So you can turn them on and off to conserve the battery life if you know kind of when you're going to use it or how you're going to use it. So
I got you.
So yeah, you got to be a little strategic with it if you don't have the case with you all the time.
Okay. All right. Let's get back on track. I apologize. I nerd out a little bit. First off, introduce yourself to the people and tell them why you're here tonight.
So my name is Jason Armstrong. I'm here tonight because I had the honor and privilege of being honored with the Career Achievement Award.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So that's what I was here to receive that award.
Okay. And what was your career achievement?
So
I like he's laughing already.
The primary career achievement, I would say, just really had to do with the work that I did in the community of trying to build bridges. My claim to fame, if you will, is I went to Ferguson, Missouri as the police chief after the Michael Brown incident happened. I got there 5 years after that incident, and I had the fortune or / misfortune of being the chief there when George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, which set off another round of riots and unrest in Ferguson. And so, I've had a very unique career and trying to still, build community and put in reforms and things where we can try to create better relationships between the police and the communities that we serve. So just being out in the community, doing a lot of community work is really what I'm known for in the profession.
So what I like about that is what we do here on Two Cops, One Donut. We're not an echo chamber for police.
Okay.
So what we like to do is, one, just like this, we like to highlight when cops do really good work.
Gotcha.
But another thing that we're not afraid to do is talk about when cops screw up.
Yeah.
And why it's a screw up and how we fix it.
Yeah.
We're not just complaining just to complain. We're telling you what's wrong with it and where we're going wrong and how we can come together as a community to fix those things. So in your experience, because you worked at Ferguson, holy cow, what was it like to reach out to the community and try not to cop-splain things?
So that part wasn't so hard because that was just how I led and how I tried to show up in the community to begin with. And what I found, or what my strategy was, is although I was the police chief, I recognized that Jason Armstrong and Chief Armstrong are two different people.
Okay.
And what I tried to do is I tried to make sure that people could see and know who Jason Armstrong was.
Gotcha.
And if you learned who I was and we were able to have an experience with one another, then that could start to break down some of the barriers that we have between law enforcement and communities, because you were getting to know who I was as a person. It didn't matter that I was the police chief. Because at the end of the day, everybody in the uniform is just a regular person. Yeah. And the community, they don't always understand that, or they don't always see that, because, our uniform represents a lot of things.
Yeah.
But in every uniform across this country is a regular human being, and what I always say is a flawed human being.
Yeah.
Me as a police chief, I was a flawed individual leading an agency of flawed individuals, working in the community full of flawed individuals. And when you break things down at that level, then that's where you can start having some real conversations about the things that impact us, the things that we struggle with, the things that we are afraid of or scared or different things like that. And when you start having real conversations like that with people in the community, that's when you start building some connections, because that's when you start to learn that you actually have more things in common with one another than you do differences, regardless of what your background is.
I got you. So I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire unless you want it to be. But I'm looking at people as they comment live, right?
Okay.
We don't always get the most pro-police people on our live feeds, right?
Gotcha.
So one of the things, just us talking about all what these people have done, including yourself, to try to make things better, like I would hope people would want police to do. Mm-hmm. We got comments like this guy, Stephen Ladner. And I'm gonna just pop it up there to show you guys we're not afraid to talk about the stuff that you're asking. Self-proclaimed heroes want to build bridges while treating residents like trash for a paycheck and a pension. Now, sir, has that been your impression here tonight? That there's a bunch of self-proclaimed heroes?
No, no, not
We
not
could
not
hardly
yet.
get one
Yeah,
of them on stage.
yeah, not at all. And that's the beauty of our profession is we have individuals that sign up to do the unthinkable.
Yeah.
And we're not perfect in doing it by any means, but it takes a special human being, a special individual, to sign up to do a job where they get paid to run in the direction that everybody else is running away from.
Right.
And 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 the courage that it takes for individuals to do that. At the same time, I'm not dismissive of, there are some people in our profession that have done harm to people in the community, and that's where a lot of the reform work comes into play that we have to do to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable and we're trying to root out any bad that may exist in any of our organizations. But when we look at the work of the men and women of this profession, every day, 24/7, 365, day in and day out, it's amazing what they do, and it's an honor to be affiliated with this profession because it's hard. Because I know we talk a lot about heroes, and in our profession we are heroes. But just like I said, at the end of the day, it is a regular person that is trying to do heroic things, and none of us have any superpowers, and it's a feat in itself for us to do the things that we do day in and day out.
I agree. Well, sir, I really appreciate you stopping by. I love the work that you're trying. I'm a community guy. That's why we do what we do on here. And I want to show our guys that we're not afraid to ask the hard questions, because guys like you that reach out to the community, we're not afraid to shy away, or we don't shy away from those questions and stuff like that. So
the tough conversations is how we make progress.
It is.
So I'm
Absolutely.
I'm always open for the tough questions and the tough conversations.
I love it. Well, thank you for being on here, sir. I got
Yes,
a
sir.
present for you.
Okay.
Right here. We got you one of our sponsors, Ghost Patch. They make these. They look like metal badges, but they're flexible.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
that Velcros. It's our logo and our patch and all that stuff. And I know you probably got a million of them, but now you have the Two Cops, One Donut official.
Yes,
police
yes.
badge.
I've never had a badge with a donut in the background of it.
There you go.
So
See, I'm glad you recognize.
Yes, sir. This is a first.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir.
Appreciate your time,
Yes,
sir.
sir. I
You
appreciate
have a
it.
good night.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. We got another one. Excellent. Steve Ladner, man, we're not going to shy away. I appreciate you throwing our feet to the fire, but I'll be honest, guys. This is just a good vibe. Not a self-proclaimed heroes thing. I promise you that. Most of these guys are not. All of them. All the ones that have been honored tonight, they could never do this. They're just normal, everyday people. They have a cool story, and people want to honor that cool story. And it's what you would hope you'd get from cops. Honestly, it really is. There are no lame ones. There's no lame stories tonight, guys. So I'm pretty proud and happy to be here tonight. This is fun. These are the types of stories I want to share. These are the ones I like to hear. Cops out doing some good stuff. We got Kyle Reyes coming over here. Get over here, you old fart.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
What's up, America?
Yeah, America. I like it. First and foremost, let's get this. Have I given you one of these yet?
No.
Okay. So this is from our sponsor, Ghost Patch.
All right.
Okay. So it looks like it's metal, but it's not. It's flexible.
I
And,
love it, man. Thank you.
and it's Velcro.
It's
So
like presents and everything.
you get presents, yes, sir.
Love it.
So I love it too. Now, guys, this is Kyle Reyes. In the law enforcement community, it's kind of a big deal. Oh,
Just a dude.
yeah, he's just a dude playing another dude.
That's it, man.
Right? But, sir, I would like you to kind of introduce yourself, what your background is, and why you're here tonight. I want you to be close. I want you to be intimate with that mic. Yes.
Gentlemen.
There you go.
Let's see, man. I own a company called the Silent Partner Marketing. Fox News called us America's most patriotic marketing agency. And we also own a few other companies. One of them is called the 1776 Project. So the 1776 Project owns the largest police news outlet in the world. We own Law Enforcement Today, Blue Lives Matter, Police Tribune, Law Enforcement Family, Law Enforcement for Life, Mike the Cop's YouTube page. All of our companies serve God first, country second.
Okay. I like it.
That's what I got.
I love Mike the Cop because he's from Michigan, my home state.
He's the best.
Yeah,
man.
I had him on the podcast a while back, and as much as him and I get along and bullshit back and forth, we're both so busy. We just haven't been able to link up again. I want to get him on our live stream to BS with us. But Mike he's one of the he's the original
The OG.
internet cop.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's one of my favorite because he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner like I am. So
I love it.
yeah,
Are people fighting in the comments?
oh yeah, they go back and forth all the time.
Are they drunk or what's going on?
No. So you got to understand, my crowd that I have on here, they are a mix of pro-police and anti-police because we like
So Americans and communists.
So we like to call out when cops do bad.
Okay,
and
as we should.
And we don't do it just to call them out, but we'll say, hey, here's where they screwed up, here's how we fix it,
Sure.
and here's the education behind how to make better, how we do better. So that's kind of our message on Two Cops One Donut. It's not an echo chamber.
I got it.
So that's how we roll. Well,
So I shouldn't have called them communists?
oh, well, I mean, I can't control what my guests say, but the point is some of them are very anti-cop, but they like what we're doing. So we're winning people over slowly.
Well, I love you guys then. Welcome to the family.
See? So we're trying.
Freaking commies.
So that's kind of one of the things that we're trying to do, bridge that gap. We're not trying to bridge a gap with people that already like us.
I love it, man. I mean, as much as I joke, I do think that we are in times where people are awakening to the fact that everybody, left or right, pro-cop versus anti-cop, has been manipulated by the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example, because you asked a little bit about background. So I was a producer of news and special projects for about 10 years. The last 3 years I was with NBC. I decided to finally leave the mainstream media after I was professionally trained in how to make cops look bad.
Really?
They trained us in how to take 7 seconds of body cam footage, take it completely out of context, and create a narrative that was false. I'll tell you exactly what happened. And this is something that, again, I think people who love law enforcement and hate law enforcement can all agree on media manipulation, right?
Okay.
So in this video that went massively viral, sorry,
You're good. It's just there's all these people
I got
talking,
you.
so it gets loud.
in this video that went massively viral, you had a black man being executed by a white cop.
Okay.
I mean, it was very, very clear what happened. We watched that video, man, and you could not be pissed. When I say pissed,
You can say fuck, shit, damn, whatever.
shit.
Yeah, say it all.
All right, so in the video, you see a white cop shoot a black man in the back, and you are immediately pissed and throwing your hands up in the air going, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
And then they said, now we're going to show you how we made that video go viral. Then they show us the raw footage. And in the raw footage, you see that white officer who murdered the unarmed black man. But you also see that unarmed black man who's about 350 pounds, 6'5", high on PCP, running at the officer with a butcher knife above his head.
Oh.
And at the last second, the officer draws, and at the last second, before he gets stabbed, the guy drops the knife and turns and gets shot in the back. Totally clean shoot. Totally good shoot. Nobody in a million years would have known because we were being trained in how to manipulate the story to gaslight the shit out of the American people. And that was back in 2007.
And those tactics probably haven't changed
No, man, they haven't changed at all.
because it gets clicks and views and likes. And I can even say, guys, for my listeners and stuff, some of the videos I have posted, I'll make reaction videos. Just in the videos, you will see the title, which is, I will fully admit, is designed to get you to look at it. I just want your attention so we can get our message out there. And you would not believe the amount of clicks you get on anything that is more about a cop doing wrong.
100%. But everyone who's complaining about that, it's their fault because they encourage us by clicking and viewing.
I click them.
You have a shitty headline or
I-
a shitty
yeah.
thumbnail or a shitty video, and no one's going to watch it.
Yeah, I click it. I fully admit I'm one of those. But it's kind of what I do on here is I try to find cops doing dumb stuff so I can explain, okay, here's either it looks bad, but it ain't what you think, or it looks bad because it is bad.
So can we talk about the defund the police BS?
Sure.
So I actually had an argument with someone on LinkedIn the other day who suggested that the defund the police movement should continue because cops suck at what they do.
Okay.
So allow me to make an analogy, if I may. This is going to fire people up.
I like a good analogy.
Or they're already so drunk that they passed out.
Well,
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm there with them. Let's go.
2013, let's say that all of a sudden the number of heart attacks nationally before the jab started skyrocketing.
Okay.
Would the solution to the problem be, you know what? Everyone's dying of heart attacks. We should fire cardiothoracic surgeons and we should get rid of heart doctors, or we should get rid of their training.
See where you're going with this.
If we agree with the false premise that cardiothoracic surgeons and doctors are resulting in more heart attacks, wouldn't the solution be to train their asses better?
Better.
To put more cardiothoracic surgeons and better heart doctors into the workforce?
I would agree.
Who would argue in their right mind, we need to just get rid of them all and make sure that they have less training, less support, and less resources?
Nobody.
Nobody.
I honestly do think that all those that were pushing that defund the police movement are kind of, I think they see the error in their ways, most of them, because in the areas that they've done that, it's bit them in the ass right away, pretty quickly.
Yep.
But, and all those cities are reversed. They reversed that stance.
Well, I mean, look at how many politicians reversed their stance because it was no longer politically beneficial.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the virtue signaling, pander to the loudest voices crowd,
Yeah.
politicians that doesn't actually give a shit about safety and security of American
Yes.
people. They give a shit about votes.
Yep. And it comes down to articulation, just like a cop would tell you. Explain to me how that makes sense.
Okay, so on the flip side, you know who sucks at explaining things? Police departments. So they all complained after the defund the police movement took off.
Right.
But they're the same agencies that had amazing positive stories happening every single day and said, we don't want to talk about that on social media because that's not why we do it. We do it because
Right.
it's our job.
Yes.
Well, maybe the optics wouldn't have been so shitty in the defund the police movement if we had been better about being proactive and
About
putting out the good stories.
sharing the good stuff. That is what I am trying to get out there. I want you guys to see cops doing good things. Stuff that I like using auditors. That's one of my favorite things to talk about is auditors because there are some great interactions with auditors out there.
Yep.
And we're constitutional driven people.
Yep.
I completely agree with First Amendment auditors and what they're doing
Yep.
because they are keeping checks and balances. And if you're a competent cop that's trained properly, it ain't a big deal.
Yep.
That's your right. Thank you.
I'll give you a great little comparison here. 2 weeks ago, the general manager of a hotel tried to kick my family out because I have a service dog. And he said he did not
ADA,
want
baby.
that. So I said to him, I was very nice on the side. I said, I just want to explain to you how local, state, and federal law mandates certain. And he said, he looks at me and he goes, you know what? Federal law doesn't apply to me. So I pulled out my camera. I became that auditor, right?
Could you say it one more
I
time?
said, do me a favor, just say on camera, federal law doesn't apply to me. And he goes, you better put that camera away. You can't film me. And I said, oh, bro, we're in a public square. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
And so I actually can. And he was like, I'm going to call the police on you.
Please do.
I said, you should do that. Cops came out. My dog is a critical incident response dog.
Okay.
Her name is Whiskey. She's trained in medical and psychiatric response. We bring her to everything from officer-involved shootings to police funerals to mass tragedy events. And so the officers came out. I said, this is Whiskey. She's a critical incident response dog. I offered the paperwork. These cops nailed it, man. They said, well, thank you so much. We appreciate you offering, but the law doesn't require that. That was a very well-trained officer, right? Both of those officers, they knew the law. They knew everything surrounding it. if they didn't, if they told me that I had to leave with the dog because of that, we would have had an issue.
Right.
And so when you have First Amendment auditors that do truly know the law, know the Constitution, and are respectful of that, because I don't fault just the officer who doesn't know the law.
Yeah.
You have to assign blame to the agency, to the academy, to wherever they got their
yeah.
shitty training. And if we're not willing to fix the problem on a wider scale, then we're not doing society.
Right. You're only as good as you train.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. No, that's interesting because I actually had a debate not too long ago about a service dog, and an officer was kicking these people out of a mall. They were told by the mall, we don't want these people here. They didn't say we don't want these people here because of their dog. They said they're no longer welcome here. Cop goes, okay. Tells them, hey, you got to go. And they're like, why do we have to leave? He's like, they want you to leave. You have to go. They own the business. It's not up to you. Well, then the debate came. Everybody's saying they're making them leave because they have a dog. Maybe true, but they didn't articulate that.
Right.
And when you own a business, you have a right to refuse service to anybody.
Yeah.
You just can't discriminate.
I mean,
out loud.
My business discriminates against liberals openly. We don't hire them. We have the snowflake test, for crying out loud, before we hire employees.
Are you serious?
100%, man. It went crazy viral in 2017.
Oh, my
30
God.
questions, short answer, essay style to make sure that we don't hire whining entitled snowflakes. So we openly discriminate against liberals. People threaten to sue us, but liberalism isn't a protected class unless you consider it to be a mental health disorder, and then we get into,
All right, I see where you're going.
then
Okay.
we can argue that. But yeah, no, we discriminate all day long in our business, just not against protected classes.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, it's your business. That's the beauty
That's
of
how
it.
we get down.
Hey, do what you got to do. It's your place, bro. Love it. So, sir, from here tonight, what else have you got planned? What are you doing tonight?
What am I doing tonight?
Yeah, what are you doing
I'm
tonight?
going to bed, dude. We've been filming on the border in Arizona and Texas for over a week. We were out with Tom Homan. We were out with the ICE director.
Oh, really?
We were with agencies all across.
How are things going on the border?
Down 95%. I mean, we've spent a lot of time on the border. Arizona and Texas are totally different states when it comes to the leadership, when it comes to the law enforcement capabilities. Having been out there under all three administrations, Trump 1, Trump 2, and Biden in between, we've watched the progression of the border crisis.
Yeah.
It is night and day right now, man. It is absolutely night and day.
I got a couple buddies that are like, we don't even have overtime available anymore.
Yep.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
You know what I have a lot of fun with? I have Victor Javia over there, ICE agent. He and his partner were ambushed by the cartels. His partner was killed. Victor got shot 3 times, survived. Amazing guy, believer, love him to death. He gave me an ICE hat, and I wear that as a tribute to him. And I find that when I wear that hat as a tribute to him in my neighborhood where they're building new houses, all of a sudden construction at 7 a.m. stops. Everybody runs away.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but that ICE hat is not very popular there. Or when I wear the ICE hat over at the free sample line at Costco, my free sample line clears out really fast, man. I get all the free samples. But seriously, it is night and day compared to the last administration.
Okay. Interesting. I have no real connection to any of that other than a couple of my buddies. Like, I'm still in the Air Force, so my guys are reservists, and that's their full-time job is Border Patrol.
Interesting.
And they're like, yeah, bro, it's like we don't even have overtime. That's one in San Diego, or in that area. I guess that's Tijuana over there.
Yep.
And then the other one's here in Texas.
Yeah, it's dried up, man.
Yeah.
And all that it took was a new president who actually gives a shit about enforcing border security.
Yeah. I'm just glad they've got a safer job now, and they're able to do it how they felt it was supposed to be done.
You know, these guys have been dying to have the handcuffs taken off of them. They've been dying for the opportunity to do their job and enforce the law.
Yeah.
And now the handcuffs are off. And now Tom Homan, I mean, I love him. I love the guy. He is all out of fucks.
He has zero.
Zero. Yeah. He has a negative amount of them. when it comes to people whining and complaining.
Yeah.
But when it comes to protecting law enforcement, when it comes to protecting Americans, when it comes to supporting border security and our laws, he's got all the fucks in it.
Yeah.
Love that man. Love him to death. He's a good friend and firmly stand behind what he's doing and the media meltdowns that come around it.
It's all about the clicks.
Amen.
Well, brother, I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having
stopping
me on.
by.
I love you,
appreciate
dude. I love the show. I love all of you, including you commies. Where do I point? Where's the camera?
Right there. Yeah. That's
I love all of you guys. Thanks for watching. God bless America.
I appreciate you, brother. Take it easy. Kyle Reyes, everybody. You never know what your guests are going to say. You never know, especially when you're live. Again, Two Cops, One Donut does not endorse anything that their guests say. This is a non-political show. So that's what we try to do. Yeah, bring it. Oh, I'm good. Yeah. Bring some more peeps. What's up, brother? Have a seat. I'll take another drink. I had to wait because I was talking so much.
That's it, yeah. I'm with you.
All right, sir.
I got you, bro. Are you leaving? All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make you I want you to be very intimate with this mic because it's so loud out here.
Yeah.
ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Without licking it, yeah. We got a present for you for even being up here, sir. So we got you a Two Cops One Donut patch.
Sweet.
Made by our sponsors, Ghost Patch. So
That's awesome.
appreciate you. How about you introduce yourself to the people? Hey, watch his beer there. Hey, I just don't want it to get spilled. Introduce yourself to the people, sir, and let them know why you're here at the Hall of Fame.
Gotcha. So I am Tom Rizzo. I'm currently a captain in my 24th year from the People's Republic of New Jersey. So being down here in Texas is, let's just say, a welcome world to me.
Hell yeah, brother.
Welcome. Yeah, but I'm honored to be here. I was actually one of the ones fortunate enough to be inducted tonight to the Hall of Fame under the Founders Award for the work that I do on the job and also off the job. So, I wrote a book in 2021, and I've been teaching a leadership and a wellness course throughout the country, 46 states, I think, last time I checked.
Can you be more specific on exactly what that book's about?
Yeah, so the book itself I titled Kamikaze. And it's really neat. I had a guy from Europe create the graphic. It's a badge that's on fire falling out of the sky. My whole thing was, in the height of the defund movement, I said, if we just continue to do things the way we've always done, it's going to be on a crash course, almost like signing up for the job with the kamikaze mission. And I said it was on the leadership, in order to retain the culture of what it was supposed to be about. Like not let the mission get hijacked. And in the leadership course, the wellness course I built, it's called Ivory Tower. So I said, how we ascended rank and like years on the job, that we kind of psychologically separate from those that we got to lead in both on the job and off the job in our families too. Yeah. So I guess my calling is to just be aligned with. I'm an open book when I talk about books about the trials and tribulations. I just think that's what it's all about. If we could admit where we fall and fail, and maybe that's how we connect. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because it's exactly what we do here on Two Cops One Donut. I don't know how familiar you are with our platform.
I am.
But we call out when we screw up.
Yeah.
But it's about education.
Yep.
It isn't me bitching that you screwed up.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Right.
But how do we get better from there?
Well, but look, right? You know what makes me giggle as far as we're in the business of what people, right? We protect and serve what people. If we have to apprehend and arrest, what are they? People.
Yeah.
But yet, we're supposed to, when we put on a badge and a uniform, almost pretend as if what's beneath that is not a person.
Yeah.
And I have it tattooed on my arms, perfectly imperfect. That's what we are as human beings. So it's no different just because when you clock in to be on a ship, you're still a human being.
Yeah.
So if we're ever going to connect, I don't think it's about, and I don't throw stones at anybody, but I don't think it's about dance offs and giving away teddy bears. I think it's
Thank you.
I just what it is. I've always been candid about this. I think it's about revealing the effect of people. We get it right, we get it wrong, but we're in the business of dynamic situations. So,
and sometimes you may have had the best intentions, but you screwed up so bad, it's just not a career you can do anymore.
Right.
It happens, and I don't look at that person as like. There's a good video recently of a female officer that's trying to disarm somebody, and she shoots the guy in the leg. And he was the most cooperative guy ever. I'm sorry. Now, our job is not to do that. It's the opposite of that. I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean it, but you can't do this job anymore. And that just happens sometimes.
And I think it's important for the integrity of the mission, right? So
yeah, and we got to have that confidence. We got to say it and own it.
And that's all right,
yes.
Right? But to vilify all of us or to say like
for the actions of one.
So listen, and I own this, right? I do this throughout the country. I say, show me a cop, show me a deputy, show me a trooper. I don't care what state, I don't care what region of the country. Show me one of them, a man or a woman that goes into a briefing, that goes into a huddle and says, hey, I want to go kill me somebody today. You know as well as I do it. We don't want that. I always say, I always laugh. I'm getting older, man. I want people to put handcuffs on themselves.
right.
So this fallacy that's out there that we want to go and have these engaged, we don't. So, but leaders, though, run from those conversations.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important that the leader. I don't like to, just throw stones at what I do. Like I said, I'm in that type of level of leadership now. But I say I really think it's incumbent upon it. If we don't do it, we can't expect the line up to do it for themselves. But we owe that to them.
I agree. Now, how can people find your book?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's www.thomasrizzo.com. Pretty creative. But
it's a unique name.
Yeah,
so you got that going.
It's all good. And like I said, I now do more of like keynotes and conferences and stuff like that because I've been blessed now. For the past year, I've been on the relaunch of the show. Live PD is now on Patrol Live. So,
yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so that was.
I didn't want to bring it. I was gonna let you bring it in.
I don't know how. I say all the time. I thought it was spook. I got reached out to on LinkedIn to do this Zoom call, and one thing led to another. It came to a chemistry test, and then here I am, and it's wild. So I was named a full-time replacement for Sean Sticks Larson. Larkin, what a great guy. I mean, he's been. You talk about a guy with grace and humility. I mean, big brother figure. Yeah, real hardcore street cop. I mean, where the metal meets the meat, man, in Tulsa, that's no joke. And like I said, it's not work. I love it. It's just doing no different than what you're doing here. The purpose is to explain what it is that we do. Yes, that's all. Yeah,
put a why behind everything.
Yeah,
I agree. Yep. 100%, and it's so cool to be able to have you on. Actually, people were in the comments earlier because we were jumping on live, jumping on, and they're like, "We heard Tom Rizzo's there," and I was like, "See what we can do."
Yeah, no, I'm a follower of you guys. I know what you guys do, and I'm an advocate, and I'm a fan, and here's why: the more of us that's out there to explain, again, not what, not how. Yeah. Why, I think is the key. I'm selfish. I got 4 kids, and I say this all the time. What type of society are we leaving to our children if we don't do a better part of just getting good and explaining why it is that we do this? At the end of the day, if we don't agree with each other, I'm good with that. Yeah. That's fine. But let's explain the why. Let's get people who know how to explain the why, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and then maybe, just maybe, we won't be so divided, right?
Absolutely. So, I love it. Well, brother, I know there's a lot of people here that want to get some of your time. And I feel like we've stolen a bunch of yours.
Yeah, it's all good.
I appreciate you being on here.
Pleasure and honor's mine, my brother.
Thank you very much. Yeah. If you could, get with my boy Alan and get your contact to us, because I'd love to have you on the actual interview podcast.
Bro, it would be an honor.
Thank you very much, man.
Right, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, have a good night, man.
You too.
Take it easy. Get his info. Yeah, I'll take her next. We got another one coming. Thank you. Yeah. I told you wouldn't get away from me tonight.
I know.
And feel free to bring your drink with you. I'm gonna be drinking too.
Are we
We're live
filming?
right now.
Oh,
we are live. So the mic, and because everybody's so loud, I need you to be uncomfortably intimate with that microphone.
Okay. And I'm loud too.
So it doesn't matter.
And what? Let me. Can
What are you
I wanna,
doing?
I want to text my mom so she can watch it. That's why. Hold
Tell her to
on.
jump on YouTube. 2 Cops, 1 Donut, all spelled out.
Jump on. You said jump on YouTube.
Yep. And tell her to just type in 2 Cops, 1 Donut, all spelled out.
I love it.
We already got our audience kind of tagging in. They weren't ready for this, so we're just kind of doing it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. 2 cops, 1 donut.
Yep.
I love it.
All spelled, yes, ma'am. Well, you already got one of our patches tonight, so
I did. I'm super excited about that.
you got to admit, as a cop, like, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's a pretty dope. Like,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on
It's
that.
pretty legit.
That
You know
is.
what I mean?
I don't have anything that looks like that.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So shout out to Ghost Patch, one of our sponsors. Because
I love
they're-
Ghost Patch. They
they're
have
the-
some amazing patches and coins.
Yeah. And did you know that it's owned by a cop?
I did know that. I did know that. Yeah.
So, yeah. Reached out tonight. So, first and foremost, ma'am, can you introduce yourself and explain why you're here tonight?
Well, my name is Lindsay McCall Long, and I'm here tonight because a friend of mine by the name of Tom Smith of the Gold Shield podcast
Gold Shield.
nominated me for the Courage Award. I had, before my medical retirement in 2020, I had almost 18 years in law enforcement.
Okay.
And then on October 29, 2018, my partner and I were involved in a shooting while attempting to serve an order of protection. It was stemming from domestic violence. So as we know, that's one of the most dangerous calls you can go on. And my partner was shot once. I ended up being shot 3 times. I always joke that my partner is like petite and fit, and I was a little heavier then, so I was just a bigger target. And so my partner was able to return fire and hit the suspect, but the suspect ultimately was able to get out of the house and he ended up taking his own life.
Okay.
And so since then, I had to medically retire in 2020, which, you go through you go through an identity crisis.
Not having
After,
a badge anymore.
yeah, and and I never was one of those people that identified by my job, but at the same time, it's what I did for almost 18 years.
Right.
So once you no longer have it, and I wasn't a regular retirement, I didn't just walk out of the door to retirement. Somebody made a decision one day that stopped my career.
Yeah.
And so, I had to definitely find my footing after that. And a friend of mine by the name of Paul Butler out of South Carolina, I love him so much. I heard him speak doing a closing keynote at a Concerns of Police Survivors national conference in Oklahoma City in 2021. My husband and I, we did our first presentation together as a couple. He's not in law enforcement. So we talked about that dynamic and family and how it affected us. And he was doing the closing keynote, and he was talking about when your plan falls apart, you fall back on your purpose, and that's how you get a new plan quickly. And I was lost then. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
And I was like, I feel like he's speaking directly to me. He's from South Carolina. He has a southern accent, so he sounds like he's preaching. And I was like, I kept asking my husband and a good friend of mine who was with me, a friend of mine from college who's law enforcement in Tennessee. I was like, did you all tell him about me? Because I really feel like you told him about me.
Were you inappropriately standing up saying amen?
Everybody's
quiet?
I didn't stand up, but me and my buddy, I said, preach, tell him,
Right.
amen. I felt like I needed a fan.
Yelling out, church. You're not in church.
Yeah, I thought I was at my grandmother's Baptist church
I
back
love
in
it.
D.C. And so I said, I have to meet him.
Yeah.
And I went up to him, I introduced myself, and we exchanged information. In talking to him over the next couple of weeks, he helped me identify my purpose. I know that I'm alive still because my purpose on this earth is to help people.
Yeah.
I enjoy helping people, and once I realized I can help people without being in uniform,
Yeah.
that was a game changer. But then it took me a while to develop the plan to how I was going to help people without being in uniform.
So I got a question. I'm going to go back a little bit. You shot 3 times.
Yes.
obviously, survival is an instinct. Did you know the extent in the moment of what had happened to you?
So the best way I can describe it is my brain and my mind were on two separate pages.
Okay.
So my brain was in full survival mode. I know I felt pain in my body, but I didn't know why exactly.
And you were hit where?
I was hit in my right forearm, shattered my radius bone.
So your gun hand.
Yeah, my gun hand, exactly. So it went in and came out. So I have two holes in my arm. I have a through and through here on my left. I never felt that, but I think that was largely due to probably adrenaline.
Right.
And then I got hit in my lower left back, but I was hit in my vest, but I was hit in the most bottom part of your vest that you can hit. So like, if you all have ever opened up a Kevlar vest, mine was yellow. At the bottom, they almost put like masking tape at the bottom.
Yeah.
I got hit with masking tape.
And it stopped it.
It stopped it. And
that gives me hope.
Well, I got to meet some of the people from Armor Express who made my vest.
Okay.
And thank them because I had already written them a letter and showed them pictures.
Well, shout out to Armor Express because
Yes.
every reel that I
Yes.
make, I wear this outer carrier, and guess what it is?
Yeah.
It's an Armor Express
Oh, I
carrier,
love
so-
them. I met them at a conference that I spoke at last January.
Yeah.
And it was nice to put like a face to a name.
Right.
And it was really cool because some of the guys that were at the booth, they actually had pictures of my vest in their phone.
Really?
They said, "Oh, we know who you are.
Yeah.
We remember who you are." And so, like, even looking at my vest in that moment, it was a little chilly. It was a little chilly to see that. And so I'm very fortunate of my partner. I'm very fortunate to my training in that time.
So did it take over? Or I'm just trying to figure out what the. I've been on duty almost 19 years myself. I don't know what I would think if I had been hit. Like, so you were hit 3 times, which is.
It's again like my brain was in survival mode. It was like we have to get to safety.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to cover as soon as possible. And I was working in Arizona at the time. And several houses down was this big developed tree, but you don't see that often in Arizona.
Right, yeah.
It's generally a cactus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
and so, like, trying to like hide behind a cactus, you know what I mean? That's not like the best thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was able to get behind and kind of breathe for a minute. But I had muffled sound, I had tunnel vision, and my brain was like, I was just trying to get something to eat 30 minutes ago.
Right.
Like, what happened? But my mind is like, we got to get to safety. My brain, is like, I got to get to safety. And my mind is like, I was just trying to eat.
Yeah.
And so it really wasn't until I realized I had dropped my gun because I was like, my partner must have chased after this guy. I need to be with her. And, muscle memory. My training stepped in. I put my hurt arm to my chest. I went to reach across with my support hand, but my gun wasn't in my holster. And I didn't carry a backup.
Right.
And so I was like, I must have dropped it in the house. So I did this little dance of, do I stay out here or do I go in the house? Do I stay out here? And then finally I was like, what am I going to do with 2-shot arms?
Yeah.
And what broke me out of that OODA loop is hearing the sirens coming.
Okay.
And so I ran across the street to a park, and that's where the first officer met me. And I think I kind of went into shock at that point because when I watch my body camera, even now, I kind of disassociate from the person that's on the screen.
Yeah.
Because I don't look like me and I don't sound like me.
Right.
Even now, and I'm coming up on 7 years in October.
Yeah.
But once we were going to the staging area, once I was put in a vehicle and I was going to the staging area, I think that's when reality started to kick in because everything got more painful.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
The
got more
adrenaline
painful.
started to dull a little
started
bit.
to dull. But I always like to shout out the fact that when I had me and my husband, we have 2 kids. When I had our daughter, I did a breathing exercise, what's called hypnobirthing. So you use your body's like hormones to mitigate pain. You listen to affirmations, it's like guided meditations and stuff you do throughout your pregnancy. I actually was doing those breathing exercises, kind of like combat breathing, to mitigate my pain.
Okay.
The only difference is I'm in the back of a patrol car with sirens
Right.
and helmets and shields going by. I'm not in my room
Yeah.
with, listening to a relaxing voice guide me through a lavender field with essential oils flowing about the room.
That's oddly specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I mean, it worked out. I mean,
Yeah.
it worked in short stints, and so I was with, and I didn't want to leave the scene until I knew my partner was okay.
Yeah.
And once we made eye contact, take me to the hospital. I was able to call my family from the ambulance. I spent 3 days in the hospital because I had 2 surgeries, and then the healing process begins. My partner luckily was able to return back to work after about 5 months.
Okay.
And I was at home on industrial leave for like 8 months, and then I was on light duty for a year. And my arm didn't heal well enough
Didn't come
because
back, yeah.
I lost some muscle in my right arm, and the muscles the extensor muscles that control these fingers.
Yeah.
And so I still have some numbness. I dropped things, and I went from, I only had like a mannequin hand, I call it. Then with physical therapy, I was able to move it like this,
able to
like
get
a
the spot.
Spock.
Yeah.
And now when I wave, I get the peacock. So some people either think I'm throwing gang signs, or I'm making a peacock sound or an OK sign. But this is all I can do with my hand.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, other than that, I mean, life has been good. I can't complain. Like, it was a crappy situation,
Yeah.
but I've had a lot of good come out of it. I do public speaking now, where I talk about trauma, and as I tell people, I'm in my thriving area, and like how you can thrive after trauma.
Yeah.
We don't have to be stuck there. We just have to have the right resources.
Right.
And I know we talk a lot about resilience, but one of the definitions of resilience is to return to your natural form. But we don't do that after trauma.
Right.
Because once trauma hits, you're a different person.
Right. We become.
And I think
yeah.
for first responders, it should be categorized as trying to get as close to center as possible.
Yeah.
And you have to have resources, you have to have support. So I have great family support. I've had great support from my department, and also just having some self-awareness. And if anybody out there is a first responder, okay, if you're not seeing a therapist, please see a therapist. We need it. People dump on us all day their traumas, and we forget that we bring our own traumas to the job. And we're in the business of trauma. Very rewarding job, but we're in the business of trauma, and we have to have somewhere to offload that in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I've done it in all the unhealthy ways, trust me, and I'm not shy about it.
Right.
But we have to do it in healthy ways because we can have longer careers. We can have better health, physical health overall, and we can have longer marriages as well.
Yeah.
And that's something me and my husband talk about, because like the divorce rate in first responder world is like 75%.
Crazy.
Like, that's huge, man.
Let me give you a little something you didn't know. I'm a military member, still in the Air Force.
All right.
I did active duty, but then jumped into the reserves. I'm a cop.
All right.
Okay. My wife and I have been together pretty much since 7th grade.
I love it. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
I'm gonna interview you.
Okay.
So
All right.
how have you all stayed together so long throughout
You want to
all
know
these phases of life?
what I tell people, and I'm not telling them just to tell them, but
Yeah.
my dad was in law enforcement.
Okay.
30 years.
Okay.
Retired. Same department that I'm in. So in that, I saw the divorce rates and all that stuff happen with all his friends and stuff, right? Meanwhile, my mom and dad never married either.
Okay.
I went against the grain on everything culturally in policing.
I love it.
So
absolutely
what's
love
one of
it.
the things that people don't do? They don't talk to their spouse,
Right.
Because they say, no,
Right.
she doesn't need to hear the stuff that I deal with.
Yes.
It's not fair for me to put it on her. No, it's a partnership.
Yes.
That's what she signed up for.
Yes.
She has to take it.
I love
I
it.
need that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I did.
Okay.
Another thing that I did is the culture of cynicism.
Okay.
I fight it consciously all the time through emotional intelligence.
Okay.
So I'm constantly trying to. Why is this making me mad?
Yes.
I
Yes.
need to step back.
Yes.
It isn't about you. It's about me. That shouldn't
Yes.
make me mad. I got in this world, in this service, because I want to help people.
Mhm.
and here I am getting mad at somebody that I'm supposed to be helping because why are they annoying me?
Yes.
Oh, they're annoying me because it's me. It's not them.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
it's the self-reflection and leaning on the people that you're supposed to lean on. And I don't have cop friends.
Okay.
I don't want people listening and be like, you're not friends with any cops.
Yeah.
I am. But when I'm on my off time, I'm hanging out with like my people, not cops.
Same here.
I'm trying to get away from it. And I say that as I have a police podcast that's designed to bridge the gap between the community and police.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me to escape, but I make sure in my downtime that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm escaping all of that.
I totally understand that. And I mean, I kept a lot of my same friends from high school. My closest friends from high school, we were in ROTC together.
Okay.
And so, like, even my best friend today, I mean, he's known me since I was 14 years old.
Okay.
He's the reason why I'm married to my husband.
All right. Is that your husband?
That's my husband
The
over
Viking?
there. The Viking is
Oh,
my husband.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beard. And he cursed me out about, saying that he was too much of a nice guy for me to be with, and he cursed me out. He said, I love you, but you know what? That's the guy you need to be with. And so I'm very grateful. We're coming up on 14 years of marriage in September, and we had like a similar conversation and some of the just some of that self-awareness, because you have to remember, in trauma you change, so your communication has to change as well. And you have to have check-ins, because that's your person. Just like you said, we stood up in front of a group of people and said, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And so he's had me at my worst. I shared with some people today, just a few months ago, I had a panic attack, and he was on the floor with me in our closet, consoling me as I had this panic attack. And then I'm telling him, like, I'm sorry, and I'm like, this is not what you signed up for.
Right.
And he said, this is exactly what I signed up for. And so, like, we have to rely on our people. If there are people, and also another thing we do too much in first responder world.
You're showing your husband
I love
there.
it. I love it. He's an introvert, so I like making him uncomfortable.
Yeah, he has no idea.
Yeah.
He's the best.
And so, but the thing is, we don't allow our family members sometimes to tell us that's too much for us.
Right.
We decide and we take it away from them.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had the opposite, because I told my husband too much, and he told me one day, you have to develop husband-appropriate conversation about work.
Right.
It's not that I don't want to hear about your day.
Yeah.
It's how you tell me.
Yeah.
And I had to do the same thing with my mom and my younger brother. It's like, it's not that we don't want to hear it, it's how you tell us.
Yeah.
And so we have to have those check-ins with our people, because those are hopefully who are going to be there for me, whether I retire, whether I get fired, whether I get injured. Like, those are our people, like 100%. So if I can, like, give any message to your audience, is particularly in the first responder world, give yourself grace, give the people around you grace, and don't beat yourself up for being a human being.
Right.
We're not our uniforms. We're humans who wear uniforms. And sometimes we have to feel. Sometimes we have to cry. We're not built to take on the atrocities of the world. I understand that's part of our job, but we have to have somewhere to, in a healthy way, offload that.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we need to do too, as cops, our people want you back on for an interview. So
I love it. Thank you.
After this, I'll have Alan get your information.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then we'll set up and we'll do a full interview.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to.
I think where I want to add on to what you're saying is, it is our job as cops too to see other cops that are becoming the uniform.
Oh yeah.
Because you see it. You're like, dude, you're working part-time all the time.
Yes.
All you hang out with is cops. You're on, 5 cans of Zen a day, and you're drinking like 4 energy. Like, you need to chill out, bro.
But isn't that the crazy thing, though? Like, we can go out on calls and tell other people how they're not living their life right. But like the person you rely on every day to get you home safely, I won't say to you, hey, you need to chill out, like too much is going on.
Right.
Or just ask the question, like, don't ask the question over your shoulder as you're passing the person. Hey, like, you didn't have that same energy in roll call or briefing today. Like, how are you doing?
Yeah, you good?
And then you just pause, and so like you will be surprised at the responses you get when you just be quiet.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I didn't sleep good last night. Other people are like, the sergeant's riding my ass about this report. And other people are like, my life is falling apart. And we don't ask for help as freely as we should. And we're getting there.
Right. Because we're
But
supposed to be helping.
a lot of times we're waiting on someone to ask us. So a lot of times you hear the whole reach out. We have to reach in. We have to, when the person on your squad is not themselves.
Right.
When they're being hot-headed for no reason at all. And it's like, hey, I've pulled people aside and say, are you okay? And then you understand why they responded the way they responded.
Yep.
And maybe you can be the person to help. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be perfect. I'm not saying that it's always going to be to where you can save everybody. But if something were to happen, like if they were to complete suicide or something like that, or just kind of go off the rails, it's off your conscience that you said something.
Right. Yeah.
Because we rely on each other. And at the end of the day, I want us to go home.
Yeah.
I want us to have healthy lives and our families to have good memories of us and stuff like that. So, I mean, I definitely have a different perspective after my shooting. And I love my family. I love my kids. They get on my last nerve.
Yeah.
They get on my last nerve. But I would literally do any and everything for them. Literally any and everything for them.
Gotcha.
And that's why I get out here and I speak, because I want the same thing for other families.
Love it. One of our people watching tonight, just because of your interview alone, they donated to the channel.
Oh, awesome.
His name's Mr. Billfold, and he also said that he refuses to let trolls we get in the chat to set the bar lower than he does.
All right.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
He is literally one of those that was not very. Not a big fan of cops.
I understand.
But because of what we've got going on here,
yeah,
it's not that he likes all cops, but he has a little bit of hope.
I understand.
So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
I think you coming on here helps do that. Before you go, I got one last question, just because for my own personal edification here. What do you think, from your experience, could we learn as cops? If you were going to teach a roll call, what's one thing from that whole thing that you can tell them that you want them to know?
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. There were several things that occurred during that, leading up to the shooting, that my partner and I, later when we talked about it, we felt like something was off in that situation. But things were happening too fast for us to have that communication.
Right.
So always trust your gut.
Okay.
If it doesn't feel right, make note of it,
Yeah.
make changes, and there's nothing wrong with you doing that. You do what you have to do for you.
Yeah.
You don't do don't do anything for the satisfaction of other people. So like for instance, if I really, really pushed it, I could still be working right now.
Yeah.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Because I want to prove something to the people that I work with. I'm not 100%, and I don't want to put myself or you as my backup or even a citizen in a position to where I can't be there for you 100% because I felt like I had something to prove to the crowd.
Right.
Do I miss the job? I do. I miss it a lot, and I've been retired since 2020 now.
Okay.
But I'm so glad to be on this side of it, to get to speak to officers, whether it's through a presentation, a class, or even a podcast interview, and families in this way. I miss being out with the community, but I definitely have found my purpose and my role and my passion in doing what I'm doing right now today.
Well, I can tell you are a beautiful person. I love your aura. I love everything. I love the way you talk. I like it all. So I'm going to have you get with Alan after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Not a problem.
I appreciate it.
Love your story.
Thank you.
Glad glad you had that survivor mentality. Came out on top.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
Hey, muscle memory.
Hell yeah, baby.
Like,
I
stick
love
to it. Stick to it.
I appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank
Y'all have
you.
a good night.
You too, man.
All right.
Thank you
Bye.
very much, guys. All right. We got another one coming. All right. Cool. Oh, I'm losing my mic here. Mr. Milfold said, I believe in accountability. I hitched my horse to this channel because they showed me not all cops are unwilling to fix what needs fixing. And we are trying. Who do we got next?
Myself, Mr.
Oh,
Best.
we're gonna do 3.
Matter of fact, Mr. You have a seat here.
You want me to sit in the middle?
You have a seat here.
All right. I'll stay where I'm
gonna
at.
duck down between y'all because I don't need this anymore. You're about to give me a.
All right. I'll scoot in. We're gonna make this work. We're gonna have Bubba over here.
Manning assumes I'm going to give him a hat.
Here we go.
There we go. Test. We got to get Manning's mic working here. Beautiful. All right, Manning, we're going to have... No, you're good. Bring the seat over. I got you. I think we can get all 3 on this one video.
See, we can bring it close.
Yeah. There we go.
Can you hold me on this mic?
Look at that guy. If you want to ditch the logo. So if you go into design...
You want my forehead to
You
show?
don't want the donut over his face?
Not that donut, anyway. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. Now we got it going on.
But we've got Mr. Best here that's going to.
You got to get right into that thing, guy.
He's going to give us a couple hats that we're blessed to receive, and we
Okay.
appreciate it. So I'm gonna can my cowboy hat
Oh, we taking these off?
because we're about to get a
Sorry, brother.
friggin' hat from.
But he's not getting a hat anymore because he just
I
punched me in the
just
face.
punched him in the head. Oh, my forehead.
Got a guest appearance here.
Alan just jumped in. Love it. Excellent. So, if you guys weren't here earlier, first, can you just introduce yourself one more time? Tell them who you're with.
So my name is Mike Best. I am the president and co-founder of the Law Enforcement Officer Support Foundation. What we do is we provide mental health and physical health outreach for police departments, and we bridge the gap between what officers need and what departments provide based on funding. So we try to bridge that gap and try to give officers resources that they need.
Love it.
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you very much, sir. Okay.
So-
Well, what do we got going
Well,
on?
Mr. Best asked us earlier what color we wanted on hats, and I think he's prepared to hand them over. And I'm ready to put mine on. I'm going to wear it for the rest of the night.
All right.
Yeah, so I
it's,
got a couple hats here. Where's the camera? This one?
Yeah, right there,
All
sir.
right. So I got a couple of hats here. Like I said, Law Enforcement Officer Support Foundation, LEOSF. So I got one for Banning here. It's the black and gunmetal gray.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
I got
that.
one here for Eric, the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, buddy, because guess what, boys? Freedom. That's me all day. Now, I'm going to put this on a normal setting for a snapback hat.
Banning has to. Banning
gotta
needs
go to
like
the
duct
biggest-
tape to get his
Banning, however, is going to go to the very last notch.
I've got mine on now, so we're
Look,
good.
normal.
There you
All
go.
day. Just a regular snapback.
See, I think both of you look better now that you have Leo Support
Yes.
Foundation.
I like it.
100%.
I'm digging the red, white, and blue as well, sir. I like it. And I like that it doesn't look like your typical cop hat.
Yeah,
It's different. You know what I really like? Let me see if I can get my... Check out my tattoo.
I like that. Am I allowed to take my clothes off and you
I mean, absolutely.
There you go.
Oh.
I got a tattoo to show you.
So,
Do we need
this-
to cue the music?
what's weird is I didn't know this, but the tattoo I have is the same as this with my wife and kids' initials, but upside down, the opposite way.
Let me see if I can do this without taking my shirt off.
All right. I mean, I think the audience might like it. My mom, she's watching. She'll probably love it. Oh, that's such a sensitive spot.
Yeah,
it
it hurt. I bet, but
Oh, man. So
That's
he's
freaking
got
awesome.
it tattooed right on his
I don't know if
body.
you can see it on the camera, but that's
Yeah,
this
yeah,
logo
you
right
can.
here tattooed on my arm.
I like
Because
it.
I care so much about protecting the physical and mental health of police officers, and I care so much about my organization that I tattooed it on my body. And it's funny that we have matching tattoos.
I know,
Freaking
right?
Awesome, man.
Shout out to Tim jumping on. He's saying, "What's up, Banning and Alan?" Love it. Yeah. So thank you very much for the hat, sir. I appreciate
No,
it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for being here.
I will
This
try
event
to
tonight was amazing, and appreciate you being here and live streaming the whole thing. And,
try to do it, brother, every time. How can people find your site?
So www.saveleos.org on the interwebs. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram at Save Leos. That's SAVELEOS. And then we're also on LinkedIn, Leo Support Foundation.
Excellent.
That's outstanding, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you
sir.
very much for having me again.
Thank you,
Sir,
brother.
thank you very
Appreciate
much.
We give you a patch earlier?
You did give me a
Okay,
patch
okay.
yesterday, I think.
Making sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you give him a patch?
I probably did.
Okay. Just in case, we'll give you one more.
All right.
Yeah.
I got one more.
Can't hurt to have
I
an
see you
extra.
got one from Mark Lamb here.
I did get one from Mark Lamb.
Do we show that out yet?
We did. He hasn't
Okay.
come over here yet. I haven't even seen him. So.
No, I think he and Janelle actually left.
Oh, did they bounce?
Well, they've been here all day and they're probably tired. And they,
Yep,
They
I hear
probably bounced. He's probably going to go to another city after this. So it's
Right.
Mark Lamb, right? So,
Right?
Yeah.
Is there
International traveler.
there-
It was good. It was good to see him. It was good to see you.
Good
It was
to
good to
see
see
you.
you.
It's always good to see me. So, but all right, guys. I think that's all we got for tonight. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Tim, Mr. Billful, my mom. Thank you guys. Everybody else, have a good night. And
Appreciate y'all, man. No,
Yep.
man. We love y'all. Thank you.